SwitchBot has a really unique and really great product set, but they haven't always worked the best with Home Assistant.
It's almost instantaneous like that.
Recently, the team at SwitchBot has given us some new ways to integrate and to use the power of Home Assistant to do incredible things in your smart home.
My SwitchBot universal remote has control of just about everything in this room. So here goes on my speaker, here go my shades, and here go my lights.
I honestly can't believe the response I get out of SwitchBot products now. So today I'm going to walk you through the different ways you can connect all of these great SwitchBot products. I'll tell you what's good and not so good about each method. Plus, I'll show you how to do each one of these. Let's give her. Special thanks to the folks at SwitchBot who sponsored this video. We approached them because we wanted to make this video and they agreed. It's a win-win for all of us. I think when you see this first integration method and how it works, you'll absolutely want to do this with every single SwitchBot product you have. Now, there are 3 different methods for integrating SwitchBot with Home Assistant. The first method uses Bluetooth. The second method uses cloud connections, and the third uses Matter. Before I get into the first method, I wanted to give you a breakdown of why it's so powerful. I'll be using this little Bluetooth proxy that I built in order to connect to almost all of my SwitchBot products. They're like $10 to build, and you can make yours look much nicer. Now, I have a tutorial for building one of those and getting this set up down in the description. So if you're wondering how to do this, that's available to you. But what's so impressive about this method is that I can still have the product set up in SwitchBot's app. That means I can use all the integrations to other systems as well as use this Bluetooth connectivity with Home Assistant. That makes it local control, and it means you have an extra connection method, and you're keeping lots of the traffic off of your Wi-Fi and all of it out of the cloud. Now, this proxy does use Wi-Fi to communicate with my Home Assistant instance, but it's very simple and it is so fast and so effective. Now, what you're seeing on the screen on my Home Assistant interface here is a number of SwitchBot Bluetooth devices that I can add to Home Assistant. So I'm just inside of settings, I'm inside of devices and services, and you're just seeing SwitchBot Bluetooth, curtain 3, hub 2, indoor outdoor meter. There's a ton here, and it's all being found by the Bluetooth that I have connected to Home Assistant. So this is SwitchBot's official page, and it's showing all the different product names that they have that can use BLE or Bluetooth integration. So what you're seeing here, everything all the way back to the original bot, all these different meters, the hubs, Lock Pro locks. There are some things coming. They say April right now on the page. I know it's kind of mid-May for lots of these devices. So even like the roller shade. I'm seeing the Meter Pro CO2 model. That's actually already in. Wait, yeah. So there are some here that are coming already. The water leak detector, I've seen that. I'm going to show you how easy it is to set this up once you have Bluetooth on your hub, okay? So if you need that tutorial, the link is down below. Now I'm just inside of devices and services, and I'm going to add my Lock Pro. We can see that this is SwitchBot Bluetooth. If they're not showing up for you, you might search inside the integration, search for SwitchBot, and just click on SwitchBot Bluetooth. It'll probably add automatically once you get that proxy in there. Now that those things are there, I'm just gonna hit add on the Lock Pro. The first time you do this is the only time you need to do this. You have to add basically your SwitchBot account information. This is much easier to do versus the other method. So I'm just gonna enter in my SwitchBot application username and password. Okay, so I have my credentials in there. I'm just gonna hit submit. And this moment it's using the cloud just for a second. And Now we're all done. Everything from this point forward is local. So my Lock Pro is gonna end up in the garage, and now I have a single device and I have 8 entities. So we can see all our different entities. It's actually a lot here. The Lock Pro, we have an auto lock paused status, we have the battery, we have the ability to see the calibration, and unclosed or unlocked alarms actually that we can get out of this. Even better, when I go to the device, I mean, this is hard to explain how good this is, okay? Instantaneous control with this. The worst delay I've seen is like a quarter of a second. And that's because, yes, these two things are communicating. So we also have those other statuses. We can make automations with this. There's all kinds of options we have. But now you can see how easy it's going to be to add the other devices. So this is my meter. I'm going to hit add. And this is actually the CO2 version of this. So carbon dioxide right there, it's one of the entities, so I can read that. I can add the hub 2 even, which seems really strange, but again, you end up with the entities like the humidity, the light levels. For things like curtains, blind tilt controllers, you're gonna have that control that you want. With something like the curtain, amazingly, we have even stuff like light levels coming out of those. So amazing integrations through this method. And I know this will be one of the questions from this section. How do you have to set up your SwitchBot products? Well, they're inside of the SwitchBot application right now. So I'm not having to do anything special. I'm not having to remove them from other integrations. This is just an additional method that all of these products can be controlled. So I love this one. It's on top of everything else that you're doing with SwitchBot products. This is a very simple automation I've created when the Bluetooth meter, so that's this guy right here, it's the CO2 meter, and when its CO2 concentration gets higher, then basically it changes and it's above 825, then we're gonna take some action with some lights so we know that kind of things have gone bad. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn the color of the lights red. That's the gaming sync box. It's behind my computer monitor. And then I've also turned on one of the kitchen bulbs. I just relocated that down here for the demonstration, but those are gonna turn red when we see the CO2 concentration go too high, and I can set that level to whatever I'd like.
One of the things that I'm most excited about is that it's turned all my SwitchBot sensors into fully fledged great sensors. So it just changed to wet. It's that fast of a response. So that leak sensor, this can be used with automations now in my home.
This demo you're gonna see, it applies to curtains, the blind tilt controllers, and the roller shades that I have in my home. So first of all, here's a controller, a simple controller for this one right here. I can open and close. I can use the other more basic controls. And sometimes I get a little bit of a delay for wake up, but then the automation runs, my curtains open, and usually it's pretty responsive. So there it goes a second time, but you'll notice there's not really a light level on this, or at least it's never changing. Well, I connected my solar panel to this other one, and you can see that the light level is at level 6. So this allows you to actually run automations off of the light levels in rooms. Well, actually outdoors, because these are going to be facing the outdoors in most cases. The second method for integrating SwitchBot is what I would call your catch-all. It does require a SwitchBot hub in order to use this method. And that's because all of your SwitchBot products connect to your SwitchBot hub, and then basically all of the data is being sent to the cloud. Then that data is being sent down to your Home Assistant instance. Now, this is not the fastest method because any cloud integration like this will introduce some delay. So you could, in some cases, have less reliability with this because there are lots of things involved in the communication, but it is the easiest to use and you do get a lot of control. The way you do this is quite simple. You're just going to add an integration. So again, I'm in my settings page. I went to devices and services, and now I'm choosing SwitchBot, and here's SwitchBot Cloud. And yes, it does show that it requires the internet. Now, you will need an API token and an API key. Couple of things. Each sensor will request a status update from SwitchBot Cloud API once every 10 minutes. Okay, 600 seconds. The cloud API limits users to 10,000 requests per day, so maybe don't do so many. For IR states or infrared control, because this is one of the ways that you can get infrared control to come into Home Assistant, just keep in mind the statuses there won't reflect reality necessarily, okay? It could be a false positive because they're just sending the signal through your hub or through your other method. The manual configuration steps, they don't show the whole API thing. So we need to get an API key. So I'm in my SwitchBot application, and I'm gonna stick it over there so you can see what you have to do. It does change a little bit in the SwitchBot app. So right now I'm just in the profile section of my account, and now I'm hitting preferences. Now I'm gonna hit about, and then you'll see an app version. Now I've tapped that a number of times and developer options popped up on screen. Now we're gonna tap into there, and this is our token and our secret key that we're gonna put in to Home Assistant. So you're probably gonna wanna send that to yourself. Okay, so I placed in the token and what was called the secret key. Now, inside of SwitchBot Cloud, you might end up getting a bunch of prompts, so you gotta put a bunch of devices into rooms. It's the same as every other process, but what you're seeing is all the different devices that I have inside of the SwitchBot app. So pretty much everything comes in. Now, of course, not everything is quite there, but what is really useful about this are those infrared controls showing up here. Anything that I've set up that way is available for me. The third integration method is to use Matter. Now, what's interesting with what SwitchBot has done here is they have two ways to use Matter to connect to Home Assistant. For many of their older products or their Bluetooth only products, you will require a SwitchBot hub for this. And there are some requirements to buy specific hubs. Today I recommend the Hub 2, but there is an upcoming Hub 3. Now what you're doing with the SwitchBot hub is you're using it as an aggregator. The hub communicates directly with all of your SwitchBot products in your home, and then it uses the power of what's called a Matter bridge to pass all that information over to Home Assistant. What's nice about Matter and this Matter bridge method is that it's all happening inside of your home network. So there is no internet required, and it is really fast communication. The other way you can use Matter is just with a few SwitchBot products today. These are products that communicate using Wi-Fi, like the new Air Purifier. They can use Matter to do a simple connection over to Home Assistant directly. And again, because it's using Matter, it is local. Let's have a look at how this setup process goes, and then I'll talk to you about which methods are best to use in each situation, give you a few automation ideas. Some of the controls you're gonna get here are a little less than those other integration methods, or at least in some cases they will be. But this is local control, so that's one of the most important components. You're gonna get the main controls locally using this method, and almost everything that SwitchBot has released or is going to release is showing up in their list. So let me show you their list for Matter integration. The first one is right here. You're seeing these three products, or these three product sets. Their Matter support is Matter over Wi-Fi, which means they'll directly connect to Home Assistant using Wi-Fi in your home. It's not a direct connection, it uses your home's network. But the air purifier table, those are Matter over Wi-Fi, so you don't need a SwitchBot hub for this. Same with all of these different robot vacuums, their newest ones, and even the K20 Plus Pro, which is that multitasking one coming later this year. LED strip light 3 and floor lamp, those are unreleased products as far as I know, Matter over Wi-Fi, but they're basically ready to go. So as soon as they come out, you're going to be able to bring them into Home Assistant. The other method that you can use is called a Matter bridge, and the way this works is a number of SwitchBot products communicate with that Matter bridge device, and then that Matter bridge device uses Matter to connect all of those products into Home Assistant. And actually, I'm going to use the SwitchBot application to show you how to do this. I'm going to start with the easiest method, which is just Matter over Wi-Fi. Now I'm using my SwitchBot air purifier. You can see it's a table version. I've done a full review of this great little product from them, but I'm inside of the air purifier table's detailed page, and I've just gone into settings, and you can see that Matter setup is in a beta right now. So I'm going to tap on that, and what's got to happen here is a quick connection to the purifier table. So now we need to have either a phone running Android 12 or higher, or when you do this on an iPhone, it usually talks about the iOS version and having a HomeKit hub, but we can connect this to any platform. So now I'm going to hit next, and we're going to hit connect device. It's going to clear any Matter settings on it. So if you've already done this setup, you're actually going to go into the app that you first placed it into in order to generate the Matter pairing code. But this is my first time with this, so I'm just going to hit next, and now I'm copying this code here. You can see my Android phone pop that up, but now I'm going to open Home Assistant. So now we're going to go into settings. We're going to go into devices and services, and I'm going to hit add integration if this is the first time I've done a Matter device. So this is where it's important to know whether you've already connected your air purifier to another Matter controller. But for me, because I got that code out of SwitchBot's app, I'm saying, nope, it's new. So we're going to set it up without the QR code because we just got that code from SwitchBot, and I'm just going to paste that in here, and we're now ready to get set up. Now it's searching for the device. It's using Bluetooth, so you do need to kind of be close to your device when this is going on. So it's just gone through a process of basically connecting through Bluetooth, making sure the device was connected to my network, and now connecting it into Home Assistant. So now what we have are the controls for the air purifier, and we can see that the sensors are going to become available here. I could turn it on and off, and because I have these attributes for the air quality, it's just the overall air quality, I'm going to be able to automate based off of that as well. But let me show you the second method now, which involves the SwitchBot hub. So this is my hub 2. You can see it right here, and it is connected to my Wi-Fi. You can tell through that right there. If you get a prompt to upgrade the firmware in general, do that before you head down this process, but I'm already on a firmware new enough to do this with. So I'm going to go into the settings, and again we have Matter setup, but in this case it's not in beta because this hub process, the Matter bridge process, is pretty well thought out at this point. Now mine already says it's linked, so again I would normally go to the app that I had set this up, and that's actually in HomeKit, and then I would get the pairing code from that app. Each app has a little bit of a different method, but with HomeKit it's fairly easy. But I want to set up or reset up Matter here. I just want to show you the basic process. Again, they're telling us make sure you have these things. You don't need the Google Nest Hub in this case because you have Home Assistant. So we're going to enter setup mode for Matter. I'm going to hold the on and off buttons, until all the lights go out, and then you'll see it kind of flash and come back on here. There you go. Now you let go of the 2 buttons and you hit next. And again, we have this Matter pairing code. So we're going to copy that. And now I'm going to head over to Home Assistant. And once again, in our devices and services, we're going to add a Matter device. Again, it's new. We're going to set this up with the numeric code, not with the QR code. We're just going to hit I'm ready. And now we're going to do that whole pairing process, put it on our network again, on our Wi-Fi network, and then connect it to Home Assistant. Now with this method, you'll notice all we have in here right now is the hub. So we have a little bit of extra work to do. So now I'm going back into the Matter setup page from the settings for the hub. We can see that it's linked, but we have chosen no secondary devices. This is really key, and it's actually a lot of fun. With the SwitchBot Hub, I believe the number of devices you can add is 8 right now. So I'm gonna add things like my universal remote. That's really great to use 4 buttons to control things throughout your home. I'm gonna add my Meter Pro. I have a shade in my garage that I wanna control. I have my SwitchBot Lock Pro. I can have my curtain 3s, and if I'd like, I could again use that air purifier table, but I've already done that as a direct connection, so I don't think I need that. I can also include things like the infrared controls. I can control my Panasonic TV, it's a very old TV, through SwitchBot, through the IR blaster that's on that. I've also set up controls for things like fans that I have in my home. So I can add those. For some reason right now, I'm not sure what it is, but I have 7 in here and they're kind of saying, that's all you get. There you go. There's the secondary devices. Yeah, they said up to 8, but I think maybe the universal remote is taking up a couple. You can see that I have a setup process to do with the universal remote. So some of these you might have little extra things to do. But now as I go back to Home Assistant, we can see the connected devices have come right in. So it's quite an easy process for getting those all in. It's early morning, gotta take the kid to school, so I'm gonna prep the garage. I'm gonna open the roller shades and I'm gonna unlock my garage door. There it is, going up. Let's see if our door is unlocked. Yeah, there we go. You know what isn't cheap? A remote for a Sonos speaker. But this makes it easy, and this is using the SwitchBot Meter Bridge feature of the universal remote. I've placed my Driofan light power as an infrared device. Way over there, you can see the light can come on and off. There's a little bit of delay, but not much when you're using the Meter Bridge feature here. I can also turn the fan on and off. There it goes. That's all done using infrared and the Meter Bridge. Quite effective control, and that's over a pretty far distance. So we're in my kiddo's room here. Really good control, actually. That just went from good to unknown. You do have to turn on the SwitchBot air purifier in order to get the air quality measurement out of it. But that was a Matter over Wi-Fi connection just happening right there. So you can see really quick control to start the air purifier. Now you know the 3 methods and you know generally how they work, but I wanted to give you a little insight into how I've had really good success and what I recommend you use for a connection method for many of these products. Now there are some limitations from the lists that SwitchBot has posted on their website. For example, you're not going to be able to use everything with the Bluetooth method, so just watch that. But I think the little Bluetooth proxies have such an advantage over the other methods, and I like that SwitchBot has developed this. That would be my first choice in a lot of cases. You get lots of entities, I can't find a lot of limitations in the products, and in general I think you're going to be happy with that. Plus you can maintain those other connections to other platforms in SwitchBot's app, so if you want to control them in other ways, you can. Overall, that Bluetooth control method has been really great for me, but what you might run into is that you need a couple of those Bluetooth proxies placed throughout your home just to make sure you have good coverage. My second choice overall would be to use the Matter Bridge and the Matter over Wi-Fi connections. You're just gonna have basic controls with that method, but it is, again, local, and you're using a newer technology that's going to be around for a while. You have to have a SwitchBot hub, or you have to have those Matter over Wi-Fi products, but you also might run into the limitation where you can basically port across 8 products per hub. So you might end up needing a couple of SwitchBot hubs in that case. And finally, I would use the cloud connection to cover some of the extras. If you're using the Matter integration methods, then you're not going to have all those different entities or all the different features. So that's a good gap to fill with the cloud integration. For me, I have placed some of the cloud connected products into a disabled mode with Home Assistant if I don't need them, or I have them with another method, or I've placed them into rooms in Home Assistant where I know I'm not going to be using those products. I can tell you, I've had a conversation with one of the founding members of SwitchBot here in the past. They love this platform. They want to continue down this path. So from my perspective, you're gonna get better and better integrations between SwitchBot and Home Assistant as they go forward. Now, all the links for all the products you saw here today and for all of our other tutorial videos, those are all down below in the description. So if you're looking to set up that Bluetooth proxy, I produced a separate video for that. I'm betting you're wondering if you can now use a couple of SwitchBot products in your home. So that's why I built the playlist that's up on screen right there. It's all our reviews, all our guides on SwitchBot's great gear. So check that out, and I'm sure you'll find something you can use with these new Home Assistant integrations. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, live smart.